Yes, owning a home is definitely an emotion right now. That is a financial trap. Still, he has bought a house at 1.5 crore. Unluckily, he lose the job. If he did not get the job by next 3 months, then he should lose the house. So 21 to 25, that's the very key age for investments in mutual funds. Better you take risk in investing in equity instead of rather going into the debt funds. 35 to 40 years of age is ideal to buy a house. Rather you invest 20,000 per month as an SIP. Stay invested as much as possible, as long as possible. Hi, welcome back to the Finance Podcast by Rupeezy. Myself, Praveen Kumar. I'm a mutual fund distributor from last 2 years, and I have an experience of 10 years of experience in mutual fund industry.
Hello, I am Manish Kumar and I am 21 old, starting my corporate journey with Rupeezy. And today I have some questions that I will ask Mr. Pravi, which he will clear me out on how rent and buy option has been increasing in the coming years and how it has been evolved from the years. So, Mr. Praveen, my first question would be how rent in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, and Pune have jumped 20-30% in the last 2 years alone. And as someone who works closely with people finances daily, what's the most common question that you are hearing from your clients right now? And do they rent or buy? And what would you suggest to me?
Yes, that depends on the basics on their salary part. And moreover, what I convince or what I convenient experience about the mutual fund industry. In mutual funds SIP, they can keep a rental as a 5,000 or 6,000 rupees per month as a rental. But moving up, the booming of the mutual fund industry and the booming of rental industry, both are quite opposite right now. And I suggest most preferable is not to buy an apartment. Instead, or rather, better buy a plot and build a house.
Okay.
And meanwhile, you can sit into the rental. We can, whatever the convenient, we can make it into the rental payment every month.
So, to the follow-up question to this answer would be ki before we deep dive, like you explain, can you help me understand? Is this even a pure financial decision, or is there an emotional dimension that clouds people's judgment? And because we can easily observe that most of us want to buy or own our own home for so many different reasons.
Yes, owning a home is definitely an emotion right now. It is not specifically a need or it is not specifically a right. It is depend on the emotion, emotional by nature or emotional by society.
Okay, so do you think will there be any day in India where rent is actually more than the EMI would have been on the same house? And are we close to that crossover?
Definitely, it is moving into the same trend right now. We are paying the rent is much high compared to EMI. I will give you an example. While developing India, India is regularly gradually it is developing. Once India get developed, the more rate cuts we can hear. Likewise, the developed countries like US, they do 3 to 4% of rate of interest. Yes, for house loans. Right now we are sitting at 6.5 to 7.5 or 8. Prior to COVID, we used to have 9 to 10%, 8.5 to 10-11% of house loans. But now it get reduced due to the governmental suggestions on reducing the rate cuts. So maybe after 5 years or 6 years, if India growth has good and being in a part of good GDP and getting the inflation down, then the more rate cuts we can hear. Obviously, the rate of interest will come under 3 to 4% instead of paying 6 to 7%. So the rental will be much higher compared to the EMI. What we are right now, we are sitting in the same house.
So it's actually more over how India is going to grow in the upcoming
Yes.
years. So that's will
And the rate cuts are very important for country to develop this thing.
and I am very keen to know as you are more inclined towards doing an SIP and not buying a home currently. So I what has been the average SIP return in India equity mutual funds over a 15-year period? And how How does that compare to property appreciation in countries like Bangalore or Mumbai, where the rates of property has been rising rapidly over the years, and it's being a new thing to buy a property in Bangalore or Mumbai?
Yes. So the standard will be 12% for equity. The return on equity, the return on interest, it will be like 12%. And compared to debt, it will be 6 to 7% return on equity, whatever we call it as an XIRR or CAGR, whatever, doesn't matter. And at this moment, most of the funds has giving 18%, 20 percentage, but the average is 12%. Comparative to being of the SIP investments and moving into the rental switch on paying EMIs, I prefer go with SIPs, saving into a good corpus, and later we can think it out on moving into the houses.
Okay, but for most of the people, especially our parents, think that investing in a real estate property is much safer than investing in a mutual fund, because they think that a real estate property is very stable and the appreciation is going to happen. Whatever happens in the economy, it will don't affect their portfolio.
Yes, yes, it is a general psychology. It is a general psychology that they don't know about mutual fund industry. Now the trend is shifting to the Gen Z has coming back, and the trend is moving up, and uh, now they are shifting to gold, mutual funds, stock market, crypto, moving into ahead, and which I suggest 8 8 to 10% hardly will be appreciation in apartments or lands, but here it is standard you are expecting 12 percentage in CAGR or XIR or in equity funds, or maybe in solution funds. We can move ahead. Solution, it counts a retirement or children funds, it may move up until 14-15% as well. So this is what the criteria, this is a general psychology. Already.
So, how do we convince people who are more rigid towards they want to invest in real estate property rather than mutual fund? Do you give them numbers or any other things
Yes.
that you explain?
I usually give the numbers, but now the psychological impact is shifting to investments in other mutual funds. Everybody knows the advertisement, the marketing, everything is moving up. So mutual funds, stock market, crypto, everybody is doing this. But I suggest mutual funds is the best asset, which from last 15-20 years and moving up into next 50 years, the industry is growing very, very fast.
That's good to know. For now, coming to person who is like actually starting their own professional journey right now, like person like me who is 21-year old and just started earning, and I am ready to invest like a 10,000 SIP per month. So how should I allocate the money to different plan or funds, and when to make a decision whether I need to increase the investment if my long term goal is a financial freedom and housing as a part of my long term plan?
Yeah, 21, that's a fresh generation. We miss that. So 21 to 25, that's the very key age for investments in mutual funds. Luckily, you are in 21 and you are ready to invest in 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees as an allocation, better you take risk in investing in equity instead of rather going into the debt funds, because you have long duration to make a good corpus. And from 21 to 25, a good investment. Until 45, you keep on increasing. I don't prefer the incremental of 5% or 10%. Everybody says like incremental. Instead, rather, you go whatever the salary hike you get, you allocate 25% of the salary hikes amount in mutual funds, that you make it into an incremental decisions. Until 45, you do the same criteria. From 45, at the age of 45, you start decreasing your assets from 45, because you are already created the corpus. 45 crores, you are already created more than that, because it's almost like 20 years. It's a run up of 20 to 21. For example, 21 to 45, it's already it's 24 years. You have a good corpus. From 45, you don't stop. you start decreasing the SIPs there. Okay. And you live happily with your retirement.
So a person like me who will face a bit of discipline while investing, like a
Exactly.
person like me,
Discipline is very, very important.
how will someone like me will create discipline if there is so much distraction at the age of 21 and 22? Friends are saying go to
Controlling the emotions. Controlling the expenses means controlling the emotions. Okay, and expenses is an emotion we can control.
So the next question would be, what according to you should be the ideal age in India to buy a property for themselves? And additionally, what should they be careful about this while making their decision?
The ideal age, it's very hypothetical. But in my view, 35 to 40 years of age is ideal to buy a house. But prior to that, one should invest in SIP at least 25,000 per month prior to 10 years. For example, if 38 years of age should plan to buy a house, at least he should have a minimum of 7 to 8 years of SIP investments for 20 to 25,000. For example, if he started at 38 at the age of 38 and no SIP investments, no mutual fund investments, still no. What if he lose the job in next 5 years? Still he has 15 years of EMI payments, the loan EMI. How can he manage? So if he has this investment, he can pay EMI until he get the new job. And now the layoffs are ruthlessly happening in any industry, not including IT. They're ruthlessly happening in any industry.
Have you seen anything happening close to this with any of a client? Can you share that?
Yes. So one of my client used to have invested in mutual fund in 2021, but unfortunately he did not do that after my suggestion. Still, he has bought a house at 1.5 crore as the flat price. So he has taken loan of 1.3 lakh and 20,000 rupees, 1.30 lakh as a loan, and 20 lakh he has paid and down payment. Next, he has invested into the 15 lakhs of registration fee and 15 lakhs of infra, whatever the interior. Now he has paid almost like from 2021 to 25, he has paid almost like 3-4 years he has paid. Unluckily, he lose the job. He got laid off in Infosys in October 2025. Until December, he has managed whatever he has some other assets. From Jan, he did not pay. Last month he got notice. Unfortunately, if he did not get the job by next 3 months, unfortunately, then he should lose the house. One, he's losing his dream house. It is an emotion. He bought the house in an emotion. Now he is going to lose the dream house in an emotion. And moreover, he lost whatever the investment he kept, he paid everything. So now he has time till next 3 months. That is the bad time he should get the job and he should clear the dues, whatever the dues in this 6 months or 5 months, and he has to take support.
So, for example, suppose if a person wants to buy a flat or a plot either of 1.5 CR, so what should be his or her corpus before buying that flat so he can avoid incident like that that you recently mentioned?
Yes. So corpus, okay, he should have at least one crore as a corpus. Somebody they don't have any corpus, for example, at least he should have a security, any security, like government bonds, sovereign bonds, or a gold bonds, or a corporate bonds. He should have something instead of if they don't have any corpus on this, or maybe he should have any secured land he can sell it out. Maybe if he get any kind of this case of concerns on losing the job or anything.
Okay.
They should not get panic first.
Okay.
They should be very happily, oh, I lost the job. Okay, I can manage. They should not get panic.
They should have a
They should have a confidence by keeping into the corpus or maybe the keeping into this bonds or whatever.
Basically, they should have
Exactly.
financial security.
Exactly. So that's why the ideal age should be like 35 to 38. Why should not I keep 25 or 28?
Oh, that's good. So my next question would be, it's related to inflation. And if inflation is silently eating my money every year, and my rent is also going up every year, yes. Am I basically eating toys? As and is owning a home the only escape from the double hit?
No. That is not a right idea. That is not a right. That is pure emotion. That is a pure financial trap, maybe, or over tempered, or the companies, the apartment, the real estate, they will keep a overhype. But here we will over tempered, and then we buy immediately. Rather, you invest 20,000 per month as an SIP. After 10 years or 12 years, if you want, you have already created a corpus. You want, you can direct, you can pay. You instead you pay the EMI of 60,000 or 70,000. You do a 20,000 or 25,000 SIP regular, consistent. Okay. After 15 years, you will get a corpus. You have a 2 crore or 2.5 crore. Whatever the corpus you created, you buy the same amount of flat or a house, or you buy a plot and you build a house. Okay. So definitely inflation will get increased. Definitely. But I'm expecting and I'm thinking, in my view, the GDP will also are growing. Or the GDP will grow, the inflation grows, that's fine. But this is growing a developing country. Or keeping like India is a developing nation.
Oh, that's really. So, in according to your view, so one should buy a plot or one should buy a flat because and let the plot being appreciated to a number, and and in that certain period of time they should do the SIP or do the lump sum and have a good corpus.
Okay.
And then build a house. We should have one buy a
For example, if you are looking for an appreciation, definitely plot is a good idea. But flat, that is not an appreciation, that is for a self use. Or maybe if you are already having a flat, you are consuming, and you still want to buy another flat, rental income will be like 5 to 10%. Rental income will be every year it is appreciating 5 to 10%. For 5 to 10%, you no need to invest in apartment. For self use, 100% for sure you can buy a flat. No doubt at all. But for 5 to 10% is of free appreciation. Instead, you invest in you are already getting equity funds 12%.
Yes. And what are your views on people? Like I have worked in a real estate firm. People usually buy 10 or 12 flats in an apartment and they let it grow for like 4 or 5 years and then it's settled. They sell it on profit.
Exactly.
So how should they shift to mutual fund, or is real estate the only thing they should invest in?
Yeah. See, they are into the realty industry. So they feel the rental or the appreciation will be much higher than the mutual funds. They feel uh, that is their prediction. But in the real time, in the ground level, the mutual fund industry is definitely a growing asset. In last 5 years, the mutual fund industry has grown like massive. But in moving further, if the uh, job creation is getting less and the job losings are high, definitely the apartments will not get sold in that overhyped prices. That is in the purely in my take. There is a disclaimer still there, but there will not be any overhyped or over tented houses will be taken or buy or bought by the investors, because obviously the loan amount also getting high.
Getting principal on.
Exactly.
So there is so much dilemma about buying a house. What if someone just never buy a house and I rent my whole life, I invest well, and is that the legitimate life plan financially, or I am settling towards a crisis at 60?
Yes, obviously they can sit with rent until next 20-30 years. Okay, they invest the money into the mutual funds or stocks, whatever. They get a good corpus. Really, there is a good corpus, more than 25-30 crores they can build a corpus. But they can shift the house after 5 years. They can shift the rent as a rental flat, whatever.
But there are some problems in like country like India where the rent regulation is not that straight. Suppose at 60, I am at 60 and I am being thrown out of my house on a notice period, and I am not that young to find the house again and find my living.
No, definitely no. Definitely no. This is not. There is no regulations as this is a over hyper by the rental is. But still, if you are a family, if you are able to afford the rent, whatever the amount they have been quoting, yeah, definitely you will get the rental house.
So, for example, when I will turn 60, which is like 20, 70, 28 days. So, at that age, what if the the rent I am paying to the owner gradually increases and I face a dilemma that I should have on the house?
That's the case. That's a bare case. You start 10,000 rupees for the rental, whatever the rental SIP for month. So you will earn much more than what you are paying into the bank. Rather, if you take a EMI, loan EMI, for example, you are getting a salary of 1 lakh, you are paying an EMI of 60,000. Additionally, until the occupation of house or a flat or a rental the house, you have to pay the rent. There are 4 years. So 60,000 rupees plus 25,000, hardly you have to pay rupees 85. This 4 years very critical. Rather, you go with SIT. After 8 years or 10 years, if you want to buy a house, you buy, or you are affordable to pay the rent, you can make the withdrawal in the SIP and you can switch it into the rental payments. But you will earn much more than rent what you are paying. For example, you are paying rent about 40,000 per month after 7 years. You will be getting much more than that in the SIP. You saved from last 8 years. But it should be a long term, not like 1 year, 2 years, and later you start, oh, what is this 40,000 rupees? I'm still getting with 10,000 rupees. No, you should make some corpus for 6 to 8 years minimum.
Okay, so there's nothing bad according to you.
Exactly.
Rent,
Nothing one line, nothing bad.
it's only
Nothing
good.
bad. Yes.
So I would like to connect the situation that's currently going on in India with a Western approach.
Yes.
So in the West, there is a concept of rental nation
Yes.
where most people rent for life and build wealth through
Yes.
different assets.
Yeah.
And is India quietly moving towards that direction, whether we like it or not?
Yes, of course. It seems like this. I see the same criteria, maybe, because most of the houses are overhyped, as we are already discussed. The main prospect is the real estate is moving. It is moving aspect, and this is moving asset. But whether I'm affordable, you are affordable, we just should justify. Okay. So if you are not justification happen, we are into the trap. Okay. And coming to your question, yes, probably it may happen. Most of the people they can afford in the rent and they can invest in some other assets like mutual fund stocks or gold or whatever. Even they can buy a plot into the appreciation. They can pull.
Okay, that's really helpful. Yeah, actually. So, where do you see the Indian housing market in the 5 to 10 years? And will it correct, or it's like keep rising, or will it just stay unaffordable for an entire generation into permanent renting?
Yeah, it booms in next 7 years, 8 years. I can see it's a boom because India is definitely a growing country, as we already discussed. So the loans, for example, the rate cuts, the loan gets down, the EMIs get reduced. Already the last 8 months or 9 months, the EMI get reduced. Similarly, if it gets happen in next 6, 7 years, they can buy a house. Now the industry has shifted from 1 BHK to luxury houses. Nobody is buying the, 1 BHK low like 15 lakhs, 16 lakh houses. Everybody is looking into the luxury. No, I need minimum 1 hour space. Spouse, they need a minimum of 3 BHK flat. Moreover, they have good interior. They're not going 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs of interior. The company has an option to take 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs of interior, but they're moving into 15 lakh, 20 lakh, more than registration fee they are taking. So it will boom. 100% it will boom.
Okay. So do you think with the boom of property prices, so the rental prices will also increase gradually?
I said right. Hardly it will be like 5 to 10%. Every year it gets appreciated 5 to 10%. Maximum 5 to 10%. It can't be like in the agreement if they write 15%, nobody will take 20. 5 to 10% is the adjustable for the tenant and the owner.
Okay, so the next question is kindly specific to certain cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, and Pune, where rent have gone up by 30 to 40% in the next 2 years, next recent 2 years. Is this a temporary post COVID correction?
Yeah.
Or is this the new normal just we have to accept and plan around? And what are your views on this?
Yes, 30 to 40% definitely it is not a right number, which I feel. But still it is overhyped, the reality. Realtors, what it is doing. But still the purchases are happening, the sales are happening. Whoever the affordable they're doing. But maybe due to the COVID later run up, this is the COVID after post COVID run up, and which I feel this is my view. And moving further, it could not be happen for 30 to 40% from at 10 to 12% maybe I can will get off.
So you think it will gradually come
Yes,
down?
it will
to a
come
certain
down
number?
due to lot of parameters due to job loss, or maybe everybody the Gen Z is thinking, why should I pay for 1.5 crore? It doesn't matters of 80 lakhs. Why should I pay 1.5 crore and moving into one more bucket of 1.5 crore of loan? Why should I do this? But instead, rather they're buying the plots, but plots will be there. 20% is I can expect in plots. They can buy house. They can independently they can build in house.
So the last question would be, what is the one SIP mistake young people like me make that kill their long-term investment well? And is that you wish you could warn every 21 years old about?
Yes, most of my clients, they are from 21, 28, 27 in the young age. The mistake is they already invested in mutual funds. Some amount and they came to me whether I have right. I see all most of the funds they have bought it debt funds. So they have time. They are investing money. Whatever they invested money, the same time they get only 6 to 7% in the debt funds, or maybe hybrid funds. Okay, so why 6 to 7%? Maybe we are already getting into 12%. So better take risk until you come under 35, 40 age. You take some risky. You have good period. This is the biggest mistake actually. Or 6 to 7 clients I got 25, 26, 28 at the age of fund. All the funds are debt funds, money market funds, all these things. So I have shifted it to 25% into a flexi, 25% multi, and 10% direct equity, Nifty 50 and Sensex funds, and 10% is into retirement, and 10% is into MAF funds, multi asset allocation funds. MAF includes gold, silver, copper, zinc, whatever the metals it will get into included.
So the conclusion for me would be like I should invest in a risky portfolio right now.
Yeah.
Rather than going for a safe debt compound.
Yeah.
And over the years, when I turn to 40s, I should reduce my investment.
Yes.
And go to a safer option because
Exactly.
corpus has been built up by then.
Yes.
So that's all
Great I had today. Yeah. And stay invested as much as possible in mutual funds and as long as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.